There's something strangely electric about the moment right after a hug. That quiet space when two bodies pull apart, but the energy between them still lingers. Most guys never think about it. They treat a hug like a punctuation mark, just a polite gesture to end a conversation, to say goodbye, to fill silence. But sometimes something happens. Just as you're pulling away, she moves in again. No words, no explanation. Just that second hug. It doesn't seem like much, right? But here's what no one tells you. That second hug almost never happens by accident. It's not just a repeat of the first, it's a message. A message that bypasses language, slips under logic, and speaks straight from her body to yours. And if you know how to read it, you'll understand that when she lets you hug her twice, she's not just touching you, she's testing something. You see, most men don't catch it. They miss the shift, they shrug it off, they think, oh, she's just being sweet. But a woman's body speaks volumes when her mouth says nothing. That second hug is her way of letting you into a space she doesn't offer to just anyone. It's not random, it's not routine. And once you understand what she's actually communicating in that moment, you'll realize she's telling you everything, not in words, but in instinct. And that's where the real connection begins. So what does it mean when she hugs you again? Let's break it down. Touch is one of the oldest forms of communication we have. Long before we learned how to speak, we reached out to soothe, to bond, to reassure. That instinct never left us, it just got more complicated. In modern relationships, especially between men and women, physical affection becomes layered with emotional subtext. A hug isn't just a greeting, it's a signal, a whisper from the body that says, I feel safe here, or I want more of this. For women who are often more attuned to subtle emotional cues, touch becomes a quiet form of truth-telling, a way to bypass the guarded words and test how real the connection feels in the moment. Part 1. The psychology of physical affection. Scientifically, this isn't just poetic fluff, it's biological. When you hug someone, especially for longer than 20 seconds, your body releases oxytocin. That's the hormone responsible for emotional bonding, trust, even romantic attachment. It's often called the love hormone for a reason. And while not every hug lasts that long, the intention behind it matters just as much. When a woman lets herself be physically close, she's unconsciously activating a feedback loop, testing how her body responds to yours. If it feels safe, warm, grounding, she leans in, not just physically, but emotionally. That's why even a short hug can leave her thinking about you hours later, if the emotional resonance was there. And when she goes in for a second one, you've entered a different realm entirely. One where logic starts fading and feeling takes over. The first hug is never just a hug, it's a test. Whether she initiates it or simply allows it, there's a subtle evaluation happening beneath the surface. Her body is reading yours. She's paying attention to the way you approach, the pressure of your arms, the pace of your release. Are you too eager, too stiff? Do you rush it like you're just checking off a box? Or do you hold her like a man who's present in the moment without being overbearing? In that brief contact, she gathers more data than you realize about your energy, your awareness, your emotional intelligence. And it happens fast. She won't consciously analyze every detail, but her nervous system will take note. Did she feel safe? Did she feel seen? Did something about the way you held her make her body say, yes, I want more of that? Part 2. The first hug is always a test. This is why the first hug sets the tone for everything that follows. It's the emotional handshake before trust can deepen. Think of it as the preview before the movie starts. She's not committing to the story yet, but she's deciding if it's worth watching. And make no mistake, she notices what you're not saying. If you hug her like you're scared of her, she'll feel it. If you hug her like you're trying to prove something, she'll feel that too. But if you hold her with calm strength, no desperation, no expectation, just honest presence, something unlocks in her. She may not even understand it fully herself. But when her body doesn't flinch, when she doesn't pull away too fast, when her hands rest on you for just a second longer, that's the test going well. That's her body saying, okay, this feels right. And that's what makes the second hug even more revealing, because now she's seen how you hold her and she's choosing to come back. The second hug, that's where everything shifts. If the first one was the test, the second is the signal. It's her way of saying, without ever opening her mouth, that felt good, I want it again. And that matters, because women don't typically re-engage with physical affection unless there's an emotional cue pulling them forward. The second hug breaks the social rhythm. It interrupts the expected flow of goodbye, of moving on, of emotional closure. Instead, she's creating a loop. She's circling back into your space, inviting your energy in again, even if she doesn't consciously understand why. Her instincts have already spoken before her thoughts catch up. And in that moment, everything about the interaction becomes amplified, not because it's louder, but because it's more intentional. Part 3. The second hug, the real signal. What makes the second hug powerful isn't its duration, it's the decision behind it. When a woman lets herself be held again, she's stepping out of polite territory and into emotional vulnerability. That second hug means she wants to feel it one more time, your presence, your warmth, the security she felt in your arms. And if she's the one who initiates it, that's a whole different language. That's her risking a little more. That's her revealing that the first hug wasn't enough, not because you did something wrong, but because her body didn't want to let go yet. It wanted to return. That return is the signal. It tells you that connection is building, that she's opening even just a crack. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize she's not just giving you a second hug, she's giving you a second chance to read her soul. The second hug is never just about contact, it's about the micro signals she gives off while you're holding her. These are the unspoken cues that tell you everything her words never will. Pay attention to the way her body responds to yours. Does she hold tighter this time? That's not an accident. That's her body choosing closeness. Does she rest her head gently on your shoulder or chest? That's a vulnerable position. It means she feels safe, at least for that moment. And if she exhales softly while you're holding her, that's a deep, involuntary release. Her nervous system is letting go of tension. That's a real sign of trust. You don't sigh like that when you're uncomfortable. You sigh like that when you're finally allowed to relax. Part 4. Micro signals. You need to notice. Watch her hands. Are they just placed there, or do they subtly grip you? Do her fingers trace slightly along your back, your arm, the nape of your neck? These are all small ways she's telling you, I like this. And then there's the pause. The longer she stays in the hug, the more emotionally revealing it becomes. A quick squeeze is polite. But if she lingers, even for a few seconds longer than expected, she's not holding your body anymore. She's holding on to the feeling, holding on to the moment. The truth is, women are incredibly intuitive with touch. They don't hug twice unless something inside them wants to connect. So those microsignals aren't random, they're emotional footprints. And if you pay attention, you'll start to see that the hug wasn't just affection, it was a silent confession. When she lets you hug her a second time, and especially when that second hug carries softness, weight, or intention, it speaks volumes about where her emotions might be, even if she doesn't say a word. You're not just reading affection at that point, you're reading readiness. That second hug is a quiet signal that she's emotionally open, even if she's still guarded on the surface. It could mean she's starting to trust you in ways she hasn't admitted to herself yet, that she feels drawn to your energy or grounded in your presence. Sometimes it means she's catching feelings but hasn't fully processed it, so her body expresses it first, and that's the beautiful and dangerous part of it, because the body doesn't lie even when the mind is unsure. Part 5. what it tells you about her feelings. If she didn't feel something, she wouldn't return for more contact. It's that simple. A second hug is her way of saying, I liked how that felt. I want to feel it again. It could be comfort. It could be longing. It could even be quiet desire, but one thing it's not is meaningless. And the way she gives that second hug, whether it's hesitant, warm, lingering, or surprisingly intimate, gives you a window into where she's at emotionally. If she's still unsure but wants to explore the connection, the hug might be brief but intentional. If she's already invested, it'll feel deeper, like she doesn't want to let go. That's the unspoken truth. A woman's second hug reveals more about her emotional landscape than an hour of small talk ever could. You just have to be still enough to listen with your body instead of your ears. The second hug doesn't always carry the same weight. It depends heavily on when it happens. Context is everything. A second hug after a casual meetup might just mean she's friendly or polite, but when it follows an emotionally charged moment, like a deep conversation, a shared vulnerability, or even a quiet walk under the stars, it becomes something else entirely. Imagine you've just had a long, honest talk where she opened up about something real, something personal. You feel the shift in the air. When you go to say goodbye, you hug her once. That alone might feel meaningful. But then she leans back in. She reaches for you again. That's not just a goodbye anymore. That's her not wanting to let the moment end. That's her wanting to keep the emotional bridge alive. Part 6, when the second hug means even more. The second hug in emotionally vulnerable settings is a soft invitation. A way of telling you, that meant something to me. Late-night moments are especially charged. When the world is quieter, the masks are off, and emotions aren't competing with distractions. Her hug says more. Picture standing outside her place, under dim streetlights, and after a slow, meaningful night, she hugs you again before going in. That isn't formality, it's memory in the making. It's her trying to feel you one last time before returning to solitude. Even moments of shared laughter or inside jokes can deepen a hug's meaning. Because laughter creates connection, and when the mood is right, physical touch becomes the punctuation to a feeling that words can't quite hold. In these moments, the second hug means she's felt something, and she wants you to feel it too. So when she gives you that second hug, when she reopens the door, just for a moment, what should you do? Here's the truth. Most men ruin it by doing too much. They rush in with words, with questions, with a need to define or escalate what just happened. But the power of the second hug lies in its silence. It's a feeling, not a negotiation. If you respond by simply being still, by matching her energy without forcing the moment forward, you give her something most men never do: emotional safety. Let her feel your calm. Let her feel that she can move closer without you immediately turning it into a transaction. Women notice that. They remember how a man made them feel in quiet moments, far more than anything he said afterward. Part 7, what to do and what not to do. This is where subtle, masculine presence becomes everything. You don't need to say, I like that, or does this mean something? You need to be that. Hold her just long enough to let her feel your heartbeat. Let the moment end naturally without dragging it or cutting it short. And when you part ways, don't chase or cling. Trust that what was shared in that second hug already planted something deeper than words can. You don't harvest a seed the second you plant it. You water it with patience. The men who understand this are the ones women keep thinking about long after the night ends. Because it's not about the hug itself. It's about how you respond to the intimacy it creates. Quietly, confidently, and without the need to fill the silence. That's what leaves a lasting imprint. That's what makes her want a third. Most men chase words. They look for direct answers, bold confessions, grand gestures, but the truth is women often speak loudest through what they don't say, through the way they lean in, through the way they linger, through the way they hug you, not once, but twice. That second hug isn't just affection, It's vulnerability. It's a subtle, sacred moment where her guard slips, not because she's weak, but because something about you made her feel safe enough to lower it. And if you know how to read that moment, and if you know how to feel it without needing to control it, you'll start to understand the language that doesn't need to be spoken at all. Outro. The language that doesn't need words. Because in the end, attraction isn't built through logic. It's built through emotion, through timing, through energy, through the way you make her feel without even trying to convince her. So the next time she hugs you twice, remember, she's already told you everything you need to know. You just have to listen differently. If this spoke to you, if you've been in a moment like that, or want to know how to feel it when it happens, let me know in the comments. I read everyone. And if you're ready to understand more of what women say without ever speaking, you're exactly where you need to be.